Welcome to the Preseason 13, that's Season 13 Preseason Patch Note 12.22 notes. I'm going to take the time to go over each of these individually, giving them the time, love, and care that each change deserves. If you want to see specifically where I am, you can go over here and fast forward through the video, or go backward through the video, and you'll see where I am, so you can kind of like, get an idea as to what's happening. Otherwise, you can watch the whole thing. That's cool too. I'll try to be as detailed and thorough as everybody hopes for. Before I begin, because this is a large patch focused on a large number of different changes, before I forget, just always, give any feedback on any of these changes, anything you think about that, subscribe, all that stuff. It all helps me out. It's cool. So, what do we got this patch? Buffs to Cho'Gath, Lilia, and Nunu. I'm not sure why, because in the preseason they typically don't buff champions. New tank items, I'm not going to list them all. A few new, like a bruiser item, stuff like that. Reworks on a bunch of items. Adjustment for Rakan. Jungle adjustment. Lane Golden XP adjustment. Communication tool adjustment. Tower adjustment. Rift Herald adjustment. Smite adjustment. And then a whole bunch of new skins as well. Okay, so first off is the return of Chemtech Dragon. Now, I know I've made this joke before, but I'm going to make it again. I literally don't understand why Riot decided to bring back the name Chemtech Dragon, because before we go through it, this has nothing to do with the old Chemtech Dragon. They changed its map, they changed its soul effect, they changed its dragon effect. Nothing about the old Chemtech Dragon is with this dragon. So what I don't understand is why they brought back the name Chemtech, because no one fondly remembers the name Chemtech Dragon, do they? So it would be like calling it the AIDS Dragon. It has a very bad connotation because of its past history, and I don't think that Riot should do that because it brings back, a bad memory. Anyway, Chemtech Drake. Chemtech Drake is back and better than ever. Blah, 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 blah. Chemtech Drake. When the Chemtech Drake is below half health, it gains 33% damage resistance. Okay, no one cares about what the dragon does. It attacks you. I mean, none of them do really anything different. This isn't like a raid boss. Okay, when your team kills a Chemtech Drake, they will gain a stacking buff that grants 5% tenacity and 5% healing and shielding power. So we will have a damage dragon with the Piltover Dragon is damage, Infernal Dragon is damage, Ocean, Mountain, and Chemtech are there for tankiness. Cloud Dragon is somewhere within. So half the dragons now are going to be some form of tankiness, which that is a lot of tankiness, but we'll see how it plays out. When you get the soul, players receive a buff. Players will get a soul that gives them a 10% damage resistance and 10% more damage below 50% health. So if you have the soul, if you're below half health, you get more damage reduction and you do more damage. Overall, a pretty solid dragon. I think it's good, but the only issue I have with this dragon is that, like, if you fight a team with no... Like if this feels like one of those dragons where, like, oh boy, it's like when you're playing Olaf and you get Cloud Dragon, and you're like, oh boy, if we don't get the soul, these Cloud Dragons will do nothing for me. Like if you're playing the right champion against the right team, this is gonna do nothing. But they can't all be perfect. So Chemtech Rift, this is the map change that happens when you get the Chemtech Dragon. When you get the Chemtech map, Stim Fruits will provide the heal plus a shield and don't slow you anymore. Blast Cones blast people twice as far, big boom. And then the Vision Plant will reveal a small area around it and debuff all wards hit by the Vision to 1 HP. And all allies tagged gain a movement speed towards that direction. So overall, it buffs all the fruit and shit in the plants on the map. Okay. Jungle Changes. Okay, so I'm not gonna read through all of this. Should I read through all of this? I'm not sure. You know what? They wrote this. This might actually explain it better than me. So let's read through it. One of the biggest changes you'll notice is that all the camps got their own durability update. Our goals with this update is make it more of an investment for laners to take jungle camps, especially in the early game, keeping fast clear speeds fast while making slow clears slightly less slow by shifting jungle DPS into companions, and shifting some gold and experience from the jungle itself onto the new jungle items. So basically the jungle camp will be tankier, but the new jungle pets you get, which I'll go into later, they also help you deal damage. So what they're trying to do is make it so you can't steal the jungle as much as laners, which I didn't know was really such an issue. I didn't know that that was really such a big problem. They needed to like do a rework, but okay. On the other hand, we made it so Krugs, we made Krugs a less durable camp by removing the 2 Krugs that spawn from the ancient Krug, which should make the camp less of a time sink and allow for a more interesting early game jungle pathing. Okay, so Krugs, the big Kruggy Krug, instead of splitting into 2 of the medium ones, it now splits into 4 of the small ones. So you kill the big one and then you AoE, you kill the medium one and then you AoE, or you kill them both, then AoE, and it kills them all, so it should take less time. We've also made adjustments to reduce how effectively both laners and enemy junglers can poach camps. The own side clearing strength changes are meant to speed up how fast junglers clear their own jungle while increasing the opportunity cost of invading. So if you're clearing in your own jungle, you clear faster. So if you're not clearing in your jungle, you clear slower. This own side clearing strength change will help tone down very early invades and vertical jungling, which, while interesting and powerful, is currently too reliant on your team's ability to play around you and maintain early lane pressure. In addition, the new Marked for Death change should make getting counter jungled a bit less punishing as well. To be clear, we absolutely do not want counter jungling in the game. I believe it should, okay. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. To be clear, we absolutely do want counter jungling in the game and believe it should be an effective strategy for junglers. Okay, my brain read don't, and like for one split second, I was like, did they actually just say that? And so I had to like reread it because like I couldn't believe it, but no, I just misread it. However, the current state of counter jungling is far too strong and punishing, making it an incredibly miserable experience for those being invaded, which isn't ideal for the role. It also makes early game invading kind of prevalent and really annoying to do. And now a paragraph just for our favorite risk scholars. I don't care. Last big changes discusses sustain for jungle. We're taking the healing power out of Smite and Gromp and spreading it across the jungle with the jungle companions. When the percent health on hit damage from some camps is factored in, this should result in a jungle where only a few champions finish their clear with low health. Most champions have a decent amount of health to work with, and sustain-oriented champions leave very healthy. I'm sorry, was the jungle doing too much damage? Am I crazy? Was the jungle doing too much damage? Wait, I didn't read about this earlier. Isn't everyone full health from the jungle period? I don't understand. They're like, everyone leaves the jungle at full health. We think that's not good enough. And I'm like, that you can't go more than full health, Riot. How much more healing can you fit in there? Okay. Marked for death. When a large monster dies, all small monsters in the camp will be marked for death. After 10 consecutive... Oh, this is... Okay, so if you kill the large monster in a camp, after 10 seconds, all the smaller monsters die. So you can't, like, kill the big raptor and leave one small one and fuck people over. You can't kill the big Krug and leave the medium Krug and fuck people over. You can't leave a little wolf, okay? So, yeah. Junglers now deal 20% more damage from non-true damage sources to monsters on their own side jungle. This increased damage will not apply when invading and dealing damage to the enemy camps. Well, I mean, that seems obvious. You only deal damage on your side. This does not apply to their side. Like, yeah? That was assumed, no? Okay. All large monsters will now heal... Am I going to read the actual numbers? Heal health and restore mana upon takedown if you have a jungle companion. This heal mana restoration will take the form of a projectile that will be fired towards a champion that last hit the monster after a 0.3 second delay. I don't know why they had to clarify that so precisely. I mean, that seems really in-depth, no? This heal mana restoration will take the form of a projectile that will be fired towards a champion that last hit the monster after 0.3 seconds delay. Jesus, is that really such a big deal that it needed such an in-depth explanation? Okay. Lane minion experience. Okay, Junglers will only gain 75% experience from lane minions before their first pet evolution, unless the jungler is behind the average game level. So I believe the issue with this one that a lot of people have noticed, that the average game level tends to be rigged. So basically, if you're already at a high level, then you can't get like XP. But like if you do a level 3 to lane and then start ganking, from what I've heard, now this might not be true, they might have patches, so PBE had a large number of patch nodes, but from I heard, the average game level was kind of rigged. So they were like, you need to be behind the average game level, which included the average game level, which actually was rigged and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know how effective this will be. I'll have to see what they actually went with these changes. Because remember when they said, we're removing comeback XP, right? And then they kind of didn't fully. All large monster gold given to non-junglers have been reduced by 15 gold. Okay, so the jungle is tankier, and we'll see that here. I'm not going to go through everything, but as a general idea, the jungle is tankier, and non-junglers get less gold from it. They're really trying to stop you from getting the jungle, which is weird, because like, wasn't that one of the only ways top lane could actually do shit, was by stealing the jungle? So like you would kill your lane, steal the jungle, kill your lane, steal the jungle. That was a pretty prevalent strategy. I know top lane's getting the tiniest bit more XP, but boy, this feels really targeted at top laners who stole like Krugs and Gromp all the time, right? Like, why would you do that? But why are they so hating on the top laners who, like, if you can't kill your opponent and you're not getting the jungler, they would just go back and take the jungle, right? So, okay. Large monster experience for non-junglers. All large monster experience given to non-junglers has been reduced. Okay, so non-junglers get less gold and less XP. I don't understand why, again. Then they give more XP if you have a jungle companion. Okay, every jungle monster now has more health, does less damage, but deals current health damage. So basically it should be impossible for anyone to steal the jungle and out-heal it and end up at full HP. This feels really targeted at nerfing Aatrox. Like, I hate to feel like I'm sounding biased, but like, goddamn, this sounds 100% like they're trying to nerf Aatrox top who takes the jungle. Because who out-heals the jungle? Aatrox. He hits it with a passive, Q chain, stun locks it, hits it with a passive again, takes no damage, goes back to lane. So it will now deal current health damage, so he can't stay at full health, and it's tankier, and it gives less XP, and it gives less gold. Like, damn, was this like an actual strategy? Was this like, this seems like very targeted at Aatrox top. This seems very, very, very targeted. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, all these changes are the same idea. Gromp no longer heals, same idea, same idea, same idea, same idea, same idea. It's all the same. Okay, Rift Herald. Rift Herald gives more XP, and the first charge is nerfed. Oh, no, wait, actual damage done will be higher. What? Well, yeah, but you're nerfing it by a flat 500. Yeah, it was like 2100, and now it's gonna be 1600. You're still nerfing it. Why? Wasn't this supposed to be the top lane buff patch? And now they're nerfing Rift Herald? But don't worry, you get 100 XP. I'm not sure I understand, but okay. Rift Scuttler no longer has a shield, but now just has more HP, and the spawn time has been increased. Now that one actually feels impactful, because no longer will you be able to level 3 gank top lane, fail the gank, and then just go do Scuttler, gank top lane, then go steal their Gromp, then go gank top lane, then go back to your Krugs, then go gank top lane. So, any nerf to the jungle is a good nerf. They should nerf it even more. To the jungle companions. Choose your Pokemon. I mean, this is like 100% Pokemon based though, right? Like, there's like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying like no one can copy Pokemon, but this is like 100% a Pokemon thing, right? Like, does anyone not think this is a Pokemon thing? This is 100% a Pokemon thing. Okay. Companions will now deal 20 plus base HP plus AD plus HP. Or sorry, plus, okay. They now deal your health or AP or damage and will attack once per second. After the owner has stopped attacking, they will attack 2 more times and then stop. What? Companions will heal the owner for 70% of the above number every time they attack. So your companions scale on your health, AP, and damage, and then heal you for the amount that they deal. So you heal your health, AP, and damage. Okay. And then companions restore your mana, and then companions get treats. 1 treat per large jungle takedown. 1 treat every 60 seconds. Oh wait. No, 1 treat is stored every 60 seconds before reaching the final evolution. 1 treat is stored every 90 seconds. So every time you take a monster takedown, you can do 1 treat every minute on killing a monster. So you only need to kill 1 monster every minute, but it stores them. So you can still AFK in the top brush for 2 minutes, trying to do a level 3 Elise dive, then just go back, kill your Gromp, smite it, kill your Wolves, smite it, then go back to top lane, and you actually don't lose anything. I feel like they made a lot of these changes to discourage you from camping the shit out of 1 laner. And then, like, I don't think they really thought this through, to be honest. When a large monster is killed with bonus treats available, players will receive 2 treats and 50 bonus gold. 1 bonus treat will also be removed. Okay, they're not being very clear on this one. I hate to get stuck on this one, but you get 1 treat on a takedown. 1 treat is stored. So if you store a treat, then kill a monster, then you get 2 treats. But you get 1 treat by default. So it seems like the idea here is you can continue to chain clear for 1 treat, or you could use your bonus treats to get 2 treats. So, like, okay. I feel like this is very confusing, so I'm gonna use old friend Notepad here to try to describe what I understand is happening here. I'm pretty sure I understand what's happening here. Like, I'm sure. So, kill camp equal 1 treat. Kill camp with sticker equal 2 treat. Get 1 sticker per minute. Do you get it? So you can, if you wait a minute, you get 2 treats. If you continue to kill, then you only get 1 treat. But you can store this bonus banana sticker once a minute. The problem here is, once again, this is still encouraging you to camp the ever-living shit out of 1 lane, be it bot lane or mid lane or top lane, because you can store up these special banana stickers and then just go back into the jungle and spend your banana stickers to get extra gold and get extra treats. So the jungler who actually clears their jungle is getting punished. Okay, so all your jungle companions evolve. I mean, once again, this is a not very subtle Pokemon reference. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying. Smite damage will be increased to 900 true damage when they evolve. Smite is now castable on enemy champions, dealing bonus true damage and slowing the target. Wait, does that mean Red Smite is removed? Wait, did they remove Red Smite? Huh. Neat. Final evolution. Smite damage will be increased to 1200. Players will become empowered and received buffs depending on their chosen companion. The jungle item will be removed. Companion will visually evolve. Do 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 do. I hope it does like a little. It turns to white and then goes do 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 do. That went on for too long, but shut up. I'm gonna do it anyway. Moss Stomper. Moss Stomper's Courage, which I'm assuming is the green guy. Okay, Mr. Green Dude. He gains a health shield after, you gain a health shield after killing a monster cap or after 10 seconds out of combat. This shield will remain indefinitely. Players will gain 20 tenacity and slow resist while the shield is present for 3 seconds after it has been broken. That seems outrageously powerful. You just get that for free for the entire rest of the game? Wait, I'm confused. Didn't they say they were nerfing the jungle? It's not like this takes a place in your inventory. So you just gain a shitload of tenacity and slow resist and health and a shield. I'm confused because that's really, really strong. Okay. I don't understand why Riot's breaking this shit, but okay. Scorch Claw will accumulate Ember stacks at a rate of 3 stacks per 0.5 seconds, or 100 stacks after killing a large monster. At 100 Ember stacks, your next instance of damage against an enemy champion will slow all enemies and 250 radius by 30%, decaying over 2 seconds. And deal burn damage equal to 5% of the target's maximum health and true damage. Once again, Riot, the issue I'm having here is that companions are free. This doesn't take an item slot. So... that one's not as strong as this one, though. Currently, it seems Moss Stomper is... I feel like everyone is going to use Moss Stomper. Okay. Gain 45% bonus move speed when entering a brush that decays over 2 seconds after leaving the brush. This is increased to 60% for 2 seconds after killing a large monster. Fucking what? Does that still work in combat? Does that have a cooldown? So, every jungler is just gonna be like around the map. You find any jungler out of position and they're just gonna be like to the other side of the fucking map. You're gonna be like, there he is! There's Kha'Zix! And he's just like and you're just like, you can't catch him. What? Is there a cooldown? What? I don't understand. Kha'Zix used to have this. It was really, 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 really overpowered because the insane out of combat movement speed was broken. You add the insane out of combat movement speed to the effectively, I mean, this is in combat movement speed now. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? This could be 20%, it would still be broken. What are they thinking? This one is worthless. Compared to big shield plus tenacity and slow resist, or you're a goddamn marathon runner now. What are they thinking? I promise you, this'll, oh my god, there is no way this makes it out of preseason. There's no way. I bet my heart, my soul, my body, this will not. Can you imagine? They're junglers in the bot jungle. You type, before you finish typing it, the opposing Rammus is just like, he's already in top lane, your top laner is dead. Fucking Christ, dude. Okay, in an effort to make the jungle more welcoming to players unfamiliar with the role, we'll be adding visual leashing indicators. We're also decreasing the distance camp can be pulled, so no more having to stand on the perfect pixel to clear 2 camps at once. Okay, so double camp clearing is dead, and there are now visual leashes things. I don't disagree with either of these, to be honest. Okay. Recommended pathing, and now you get a oh, that's cool too. You get like a recommended pathing thing. So like if you play a jungler, you can have like recommended pathing available to you. No communication tools. Okay, these ones are also like not bad. They should probably consider firing whoever came up with this shit, because like what? But yeah, I mean, that's bad, but like this is good. This is good. So you can now bait when you're laning, which is great. Okay, so we have the returning pings. Retreat on my way, assist me, enemy missing. We have the new pings. Push, all in, hold, and bait. Which I do every night. Anyway, so we got Vision Wheel. We're also adding an entirely new ping wheel that focuses primarily on vision. Using this wheel, you can now indicate the following. Vision cleared. Enemy vision. Need vision. The need vision ping will leave a small persistent indicator for a... Kitty, what are you doing? Will now leave a small persistent indicator for a minute or until a ward is placed nearby. You may only have one of these indicators active at any given time. Pinging again will replace your previous one. I actually like this, by the way, because there's so many times I'm playing in top lane and I'm like, I have this position warded. Mid laner, I need you to ward here. If I can just sit here and be like, ward it, 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 ward it. Either the mid laner is gonna pull his dumb lazy ass out and ward it so that we can actually defend top lane and actually have vision, or I'm gonna die. Either way, I'm okay with it. Other pings. The caution ping, which exists outside of the ping wheel system, is staying the same with some updated visuals. Does it still... Every single time, if I'm playing top lane, can I still get shing, 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 shing? Can like the worst player on your team still just go shing, 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 shing? Can the mid laner who sits under turret getting his shit pushed in, being absolutely useless, still just go shing, 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 shing? Objective planning. Getting your team on board with an objective can be difficult. Okay, I'm not gonna read this. Basically, there's now voting, but on objectives. So like, you're like, start a dragon, vote now! And you start like voting on whether or not you wanna do like a dragon. That's it. It's like the FF vote, but dragon and baron. Vision system updates. Allied ward tracking. While there are currently ways to see how many wards you have on the map, there isn't a quick way to check which wards are closer to expiring. We're introducing new ward visuals on the minimap that will indicate when wards are close to expiring. Allied ward minimap icons will now change appearance when they reach a third of their remaining duration. That's fine. That's good, actually. Oh no, they're keeping this one in? Okay. Enemy ward timers. It can be hard to keep track of every single ward that gets placed on the map, and even harder to successfully communicate that information to your teammates. Now, if you use a vision ping near an enemy ward that you've seen within the last 10 seconds, or just attack it, a perfectly accurate ward timer that is always visible to all teammates will appear until the ward is removed or expires. I'm gonna have to use my disagree button on this one. I'm just gonna disagree. I'm gonna give this a D. Disagree, 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 disagree. Look, it's one thing to like be able to ping enemy vision, but it's another whole thing to be like, the enemy has a ward here that will expire at this exact millisecond. Be prepared for the amount of jungle ganks you're gonna get where you're right about to like your vision's like, it goes like 3, 2, 1, it dies, and at that exact moment the jungler comes through and ganks you. Be prepared for that. Like right now, you can kind of like guarantee they probably aren't gonna do that. They'll probably walk too early, get seen, or they'll give it like an additional 10 to 20 seconds so you have a little bit of time. But be prepared, your vision is gonna die in the brush, and you're gonna walk back in to clear it like 1 second later after pushing the wave, and the opposing jungler is already gonna be in there. Ability recommendations. Suggested ability levels up. Okay, that one's also good. Like anything that lowers the, or I should say, yeah, let's put it that. Anything that lowers the skill floor without actually detracting from the game, I think is fine. A dude who doesn't know, for example, oh, the new meta on, I don't even know, Tahm Kench is to level Q then E. Like, okay, or Q then W, right? Like anyone who doesn't know, oh yeah, after the rework, Tahm Kench levels W second, not E. Yeah, I mean, that's fine, right? Like, I think we can all agree on that. Particularly because it affects your team too, right? Like, your team who goes Nautilus, just as one example, isn't gonna have to like spam, like, guys, what do I max on Nautilus first? I haven't played this champion in years, like when he's auto-filled to support. This probably helps a lot of AD carry players, I should say bot lane players, because when you get that Leona on your team that's maxing Q, and you're like, you know, maxing Q doesn't do anything, and they're like, no man, I played her 5 years ago, this is a strategy, right? Like, yeah. Top lane oriented updates. Lane golden experience changes. We're also making some adjustments to help top lane scale better relative to other lanes, and hit those key items and level breakpoint faster relative to mid or bot. TLDR. Mid and top are getting a bit more XP, bot duo is getting a bit less, and mid is getting a bit less gold. I'm not going to read the actual specific changes because that's kind of boring. The general idea, bot lane, you get even less XP. I guess. I mean, go fuck yourself. I don't know. It feels a little bit of a dick, not going to lie. So bot lane gets fucked. Sorry, bot laners. Mid lane gets more XP, but then gets less gold. Their lane minions are going to be worth less gold before 14 minutes. Top lane gets more XP, but doesn't get their gold nerfed. Does everybody get it? Okay. That's it. I should specify here, they're not nerfing bot lane XP, they're just buffing mid and top. Do you get it? But it is technically a nerf, because then every person other than the bot laner gets more XP. Does everybody get that? Okay. Yeah, I don't agree with this, because I don't think buffing top lane should just be like, let's nerf bot lane. Like, what? Yeah, I think mid lane's been overpowered for like 12 years now. And this is like, I definitely think nerfing mid lane is a good idea. Mid lane has been overpowered for 12 years. It has blatantly been the best lane for 12 years. It is always gone. Mid is the best, then jungle, or jungle is the best, then mid. Now, jungle desperately needs a nerf. It has been blatantly the best lane in the game for like 5 years now. But historically speaking, ignoring the jungler, mid has just been way better than every other lane. So nerfing mid gold is good, in my opinion. That's good. New and updated items. Okay, so now these are, well, the new and updated items. Okay. I'll just read through them. So we got Jak'Sho, the Protean. Become an unkillable monstrosity over the course of a fight. Okay, so Jak'Sho is interesting. Just to be clear, Sunfire is gone, effectively. All the Bami's Cinder items have been murdered. All the current take mythics are gone. I'm just gonna say that now, because now let's go through the new mythics. The old mythics, all gone, okay? Just wipe it out of your mind, pretend this never happened. It was all a dream, okay? Just be like, ah! Just like stab your finger directly into your brain in the one region that controls the exact memories on tank mythics. because they're all gone, okay? I'm sorry if this wasn't funny, but shut up, I'm funny. Jak'Sho the Protean. Okay, so 3,000 gold, less than Sunfire, more than the old mythics, okay? Health 400, armor 30, magic resist 30, ability is 20. So if we're using Sunfire as an example, 5 gold, or sorry, 100 gold is 5 resistances. So this is less effective than Sunfire because it's 200 less gold, but gives 50 less health, 5 less armor, 5 less magic resist. So this is squishier than Sunfire even for its gold cost. Everybody get that? Then, for each second in combat, gain a stack of 2 armor and MR, up to 8 max. So at 8 seconds, you get 16 armor and magic resist. And max stacks become empowered, instantly draining enemies around you for 3% of your max health. Reduce to 30% against minions and monsters, and increasing your resists by 10% until end of combat. Then its mythic is, grant all other legendary items 5 armor and magic resist. Okay, this one obviously looks decent. The problem I have with this one as a whole is that it seems, what's the right way to put this? It's pretty goddamn hard to position perfectly at the end of 8 seconds. And the payoff for positioning perfectly for the 3% health drain, which I'm assuming heals you, but probably heals you after mitigation. The problem is after 8 seconds, the payoff for hitting all 5 people would be like you maybe heal, like in a good situation where none of them have stacked magic resist, you're still gonna heal like 10% health. That's your huge payoff. Now you do get the 10% resistances. You do get in total 48 armor and 48 magic resist with 10% resistances. But have you noticed something that isn't here? Anything else? My problem with this item is it's basically only going to be good on tanks who already have healing, who don't really need damage, who can already stay in combat, who are already mobile. Like, think about how actually that's not that many champions. And as we go further, as we go further here, I don't know why they're specifying the Ornn one. As we go further here, I just want to specify that this is a bit fucky wucky because I don't think they should make a tank item hyper designed for extremely specific champions. How many tanks don't need any damage, don't need wave clear, already can heal, already can stay in combat, are already mobile? There's not a lot, man. Like, Riot, man, there's not a lot of these. Radiant Virtue. Become a shining light and lead the charge as a beacon of hope to your teammates. This is kind of like, it kind of looks like a support tank item or something. It's a bit weird, but once again, 30 armor, 30 magic resist, 400 HP, 20 ability haste for 3,000 gold. So once again, it's less effective than Sunfire slightly. If they gave it 450 health, it would be as good as Sunfire for the cost. I don't know why they're making all of them less effective than Sunfire. I don't think tank items were known for being extremely cost efficient. So I don't really get it. Radiant Virtue, okay, so it's the same thing. Upon casting your ultimate, you transcend, increasing your max health by 10% for 9 seconds. While transcended, you and your allies within 1200 range you gain 15 non-ultimate ability haste and heal 1% of your max health every 3 seconds. Increased up by up to 100% based on your champion's missing health. 60-second cooldown. Mythic passive, gain 100 health. Not the size, but the size was always stupid anyway from Iceborn. So this is extremely niche and specific too. I don't know why they're making extraordinarily niche tank items. I think they're trying to make you feel really good, but the thing is, every tank is just going to have one item that they're going to go every game. So by making extremely niche specific items, you're not going to feel like creative and unique for going the right tank item. You're literally just going to go and look on a wiki or something, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, this one's blatantly the best, and then you'll just build that one. Because, like, you go Jak'Sho on, let's say, Ornn, and like, maybe it'll work on Ornn if there's nothing better, But like, try going, like, you see what I mean? It's like, yeah. So this one, for example, this pretty much seems like the support item. It's just an AoE heal and max health. So basically, you ult, you get a bunch of health, and then you heal everyone around you. Everybody get it? Yeah. It once again, it doesn't. Once again, as with the above item, and this is why I think tanks are gonna be much worse off. I don't know if I'll be right. Okay, I don't know if I'll be wrong. All I can say, my guesstimation, this is why I think tanks are gonna be way worse, is because as before, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't do anything else. There's no damage. There's no wave clear. There's nothing special here. This one you need to sit in combat, so in short trades it does nothing. This one you have to ult, so in short trades it does nothing. I don't think Sunfire was such a tanky, great item that was so amazing in short trades. That was actually kind of its weakness, right? Now imagine you have items that are even worse to rush than Sunfire. So then we have Heartsteel. Okay, now this one is the one people are like, oh my god, Heartsteel, it looks amazing. But let me run you through my thoughts on this one. It gives 200% health regen, which is decent. It gives 800 health, which is decent. It gives 20 ability haste, which is decent. It's got a shitty build path because Kindle Gem has been power creeped like hell. Kindle Gem could be upgraded to 250 HP at this point, in my opinion. Giant's Belt is also... Giant's Belt is actually pretty decent. I'll be honest. Crystalline Bracer got power creep pretty hard when they nerfed it. So, 3,200 gold, 3,200 gold. Same price as the current Sunfire. Now, when you're near somebody, you eventually charge up an attack over 3 seconds. And then you go pew! And it does 125 plus 6% of your max health as physical damage. Then it grants you 10% of that amount as permanent maximum health. So this item, a lot of people seem to think it's really, really good. But let me explain why I actually really don't. One, you have to commit to a long trade with this item in order to get the actual proc. Two, the proc doesn't scale up the more health you build. If you use it early game and you get, what'd that be? 10% of that amount. So that would be 12.5 plus 6% of your health. So even if you had 2,000 health, you'd be looking at 12. So 24. I mean, that's not bad, but like, yeah. It's not gonna deal that much damage. It'll deal okay damage. I'll give you that, right? It'll deal okay damage, but like, even if you get, if I map this out correctly, I don't think it's scaled on. I don't think it scales down if like you do less damage, right? Like I don't think the amount of health you get is right, but like if you get like 20 health early game, or you get like 24 health early game, just because you build a lot more health, or just because you continue to proc it, that 24 is just going to stay 24. So even if you eventually stack it up over the course of a game, and oh my god, you get like 500 health on it, it's still going to end up being a 1,300 health item, and that's it. Then, okay, here's the other problem a lot of people have noticed. Grant all other legendary items 1% bonus health and 6% champion size. Oh my god, percent max HP, right? Like once again, here's the issue. 1% of 100 is 1. 1% of 1,000 is 10. 1% of 5,000 is 50. 1% of 10,000 is 100. 100. How many champions are gonna have 10,000 HP? Even if you chain proc this item, even if you somehow chain procced it the entire game and this item was giving you 1,500 HP, screw it. You are God. You hit all 5 targets in like 10 team fights in a row. You have 2,000 health on this item. Dear God, that puts the average champion, even then, that's going to put the average tank in an absurd situation where it's giving you 2,000 health to maybe 6,000. You still need 4,000 health somehow for this mythic passive to be as good as this one. Champion size is seriously not as good as Riot thinks it is. There's so many effects, so many items that don't scale on champion size even to this day. I don't even know if Frozen Heart was changed to scale on champion size. I don't know if Randuins Omen active was changed to scale on champion size. But the issue is so many things have not been properly updated to scale on champion size to the point where, yes, it is a nerf. You can no longer dodge skill shots. Everything hits you perfectly dead center. You get hit dead center by every Aatrox Q, by every Ziggs ult, by everything. Riot seems to think champion size is this crazy awesome bonus, when in reality, champion size is not that amazing. So, at any rate, I think Heartsteel would be decent on a few very specific champions. I think if you had a very good laning phase and you managed to either get it early or you had a favorable matchup that you were able to get it on a tank, it's not like you can just, like if you're playing a bruiser and you're building pure health items, you're going to lose lane every time. I don't think anyone's arguing that. The second thing is you need to have a champion that has some sort of like mitigation from HP, like either like a % health shield or % health healing, something like that. Because if you don't, your first item is going to be pure health, no resistances. In other words, anyone who builds damage is just going to munch, just devour your health bar in trades. I think a lot of people don't understand how much mitigation even 30, 40 armor is. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons Sunfire with even 35 armor made people so hard to kill. Even if you look at Distance gives 45 armor and it can make people really, really hard to kill. Hourglass gives, what is it, like 50 armor now? And it can make people really hard to kill. So the issue is having none of those on a tank tends to not actually do as much as you think it will. Iceborn Gauntlet. Is this still a mythic? Okay, Iceborn Gauntlet. This is interesting as an item. Certainly interesting. The problem I'm having is they removed the magic resist and just gave it a lot of armor for some reason. So we're back to this really weird situation where every champion who wants Iceborn Gauntlet but has to lane into a mage now can't first item Iceborn Gauntlet, or they have to do this weird thing where they like first item a Negatron cloak and then swap over to Iceborn Gauntlet. The reason they put armor and magic resist on it was to make it so that you couldn't get screwed over by like, oh, they went Vladimir top, and you're sitting there like, but my champion needs Iceborn Gauntlet, right? Like they didn't want that situation, and now they have that situation. So bad job, Riot. I don't, did you literally forget why you did it? Okay. So its gold cost went up, its health went down, and its resistances stayed the same. Just more armor instead of magic resist. Its cost went up, and the health went down. Which is sussy. Sussy-wussy, in fact. I'll just read the mythic passive. It has the old Sunfire. So I think in Riot's mind, this item is replacing Sunfire, which I'll get to why I don't think it will. So 50 health, 5 tenacity, 5 slow resist. Okay. Now, instead of having Bami's Cinder, it has and starts with, it doesn't start with Bami's Cinder. It has a Sheen. There we go. So it's got Sheen, Kindle Gem, Chain Vest. Okay. After using an ability, your next attack is enhanced with an additional 100% base AD physical damage and creates a frost ring for 2.5 seconds. Enemies that move across the field are slowed by 15% plus bonus health. So the slow, if you guys remember the old Iceborn Gauntlet, this is not that good of a slow. If you guys remember Frostfire, it is not that good of a slow. Okay? It's only 15% plus 0.4% of your health. So if you have 1,000 health, you get a 4% slow. If you have 2,000 bonus HP, which that's late game, like most champions at full items with some grasp and dying and stuff ended up about 2,000. So late game, you will end up with a 23% slow. This slow is not that good. It is a slow. It kind of does allow you to stay in range, but to act like this is the old Iceborn Gauntlet, it's not. We're not going to have the Giga Malphite slow that's like that big and slows everyone by 30%. We're not going to have the Giga Nasus that perma-slows you to death, okay? Yeah. What it does do, your primary target is crippled, applying a 100% stronger slow on them. So you can slow your primary target, okay? And their damage is reduced by 10% against you for 2.5 seconds on a 1.5 second cooldown. So this item is seemingly, I can't say for sure, this item is seemingly, it looks like it's Riot's answer to split push tanks in a way. That they'll have damage reduction against their primary target. So champions like Ornn or K'Sante, because he's the new hotness, right? Ornn, K'Sante, they'll be able to reduce Jax's damage and, you know, hopefully be a little bit relevant against them. It won't affect Fiora, but no one does that. They'll be able to chain proc it on turrets, although it's only 100% base AD. Maybe if it did double damage to turrets, maybe if it did 150% base AD. But just to show you though, K'Sante. Let me show you. Let me show you why I'm kind of downplaying this really hard. Here's K'Sante. Base damage 64 to 123. Here's Jax. Base damage 68 to 140. That's a big difference. Here's Darius. 64 to 149. Here's Sejuani. 66 to 134, which is decent, but still not as good. Tanks overall have lower base damage than bruisers. I'm not saying that's a problem, I'm just saying that's a fact, okay? And the issue is 100% base AD on a class that doesn't build armor pen and doesn't have high base damage. Late game K'Sante will get like 30 to 40 damage off this proc. In other words, everyone thinking this is going to be some late game damage item. No, this won't even be a mid game damage item. This won't even be an early game damage item. You will have to already have your base damage and be able to kill people with your base damage, because there's no way this item is going to kill people. Physical damage falls off and becomes useless. We've seen that with K'Sante, because when he's not in his ultimate in the late game, he kind of goes like dink, 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 dink. He just like can't make people flinch anymore. Yeah. So what I think Riot should do with this one, here's just my opinion, Riot. Make it do like double damage to turrets, maybe, to like split push tanks. Then make it like, maybe make it scale on your health a little bit, maybe. Maybe make it like 3% of your bonus armor, health, and magic resist on proc. Maybe that would be too much, but you get the idea, in magic damage. So maybe like 75 base AD plus 3% bonus health, armor, and magic resist in magic damage. Additionally, change the armor and magic resist so that it's 25 and 25 again, because that's really unfair. Even if it's now better into physical champions when you rush it, the issue I have is that you're once again pushing a situation where if I'm playing Kusante and this is my best item, that if I'm fighting a Teemo, this is gonna feel really shitty to have to build. Especially because they're like pushing it as your anti-split pushing item. It's like if I'm playing Kusante and I'm fighting like a Ryze or a Vladimir, so I go Iceborn Gauntlet to try to like, you know your team's gonna shit talk you, and what are you gonna do? Be like, oh no, I'll go the other mythic that's really good. I guess Heartsteel while I'm being kited, or maybe I'll go Jak'Sho, the team fight item, right? Like, do you see my point here? And that's it. That's it for tank mythics. So when I'm saying that this is a really shitty feeling, this is the only tank mythic that you can build to 1v1. And it has only armor, no magic resist. That's kind of a feels bad, man. No? It gets worse when we go to the new Sunfire. I'll show you. Ravenous Hydra is back. I kind of want to go back to this one because I want to go through. I'm gonna forget, but okay. I'll go over it, but then there's more tank items after this. I don't know why they organized it like this. They typically do like all tank items, then mage, then bruiser. For some reason, they have a random mage item here. So here's Rod of Ages. The one you've all been waiting for. No. Anyone who actually knows what this item is goes, Rod of Ages. Oh god, it's so boring. Wow, it gives ability power and health and mana. What else does it do? Nothing. That's it. That's all it does. Wow, ability power and health and mana. I sure do love rushing a mage item with no ability haste. Why? Do mages scale really good on abilities or something and want them to be on a lower cooldown? Certainly not. Health, armor, and mana. Yay! This item, okay, so it gains health, mana, and ability power every minute, up to 10 times, up to 200 health, mana, and ability power. So max stacks, it gives 100 ability power, 500 health, and what is that? 600 mana. Whoopee! Restore mana equal to 8% of pre-mitigation damage taken from champions. So effectively infinite mana if you're dying. And health equal to 20% of mana spent, up to 15% of the cast. Toggle abilities, blah, 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 blah. For up to 250 health. For every 250 health or mana restored this way, gain a 25% decaying move speed buff for 2 seconds. So this is the only interesting part, okay? Cool. So if you take a lot of damage, you get a movement speed buff. If you use a shitload of abilities, you get a movement speed buff. Does everybody get that? So it's basically the Giga Stat Stick that gives you more movement speed so you can stat stick while you stat stick so you can stat. Oh, sorry, I just got so sleepy. Then it finally grants ability haste after you've built all your other items on its mythic passive. Okay. Catalyst of Aeons. Again. Catalyst of Aeons is coming back. Wow. Health and mana on an item. Who wants early AP on mages? Ha ha. Not me. Ha ha. I just want health and ha ha mana. And then it's got the same restore mana when you take damage, restore health when you cast abilities. Whoopee. Okay. Abyssal Mask is getting a small rework, kind of. Abyssal Mask is getting its mana back. Because when I think tank, I think champions that definitely still need mana in 2022. I remember the last time I ran out of mana on a tank. I was playing Maokai, and I was going Q, 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 and then 20 minutes later I was going Q, Q. Oh no, I'm out of mana! Okay, so gold cost up by 300, health up by 50, mana, it now has mana. Magic resist up by 5. Ability haste is still 10. New build path, nobody cares. It gets Catalyst to Aeons. Yay, Catalyst to Aeons. Restore, you take damage, you restore mana, you cast abilities, you get health. Whoopee, cool. Then you curse nearby enemy champions. It's the same old Abyssal Scepter. So basically, its cost went up by 300 to get mana. But no one gives 10 flying fucks about mana, so its cost went up by 300. So they took one of the worst items in the game and increased its cost by 300, and they were like, does anyone remember the old Abyssal Mask? Did you miss the old Abyssal Mask? God, I wish they hadn't reworked the old Abyssal Mask. I miss the old Abyssal Mask so much. Failing to remember why. By the way, why they removed the old Abyssal Mask. Why did they remove it? Because of Rise. It was literally because of Rise. That was it. They didn't want it because of Rise. So now it's back for Rise. I'm really hoping, in my heart, guys, in my heart, I actually want Rise to be broken with this item, because it would make me so happy if Riot actually just like sucked a dick and ate the L on breaking Rise again. That would just make me so happy. I would make a video where I would just be sitting there being like, fuck you, fuck you. Okay. Randuins Omen is going back to Randuins Omen. Randuin's critical damage reduction being tied to the active has led to a less satisfying and less revival version of the item, returning the reduction to its passive, the active to its longer slow, all while retaining the new rock solid passive. So Randuin's Omen is back, kind of, for the most part. The ability haste is gone because Riot was like, wow, tanks can get so much ability haste, and tanks were like, we have the least ability haste of every class. And Riot was like, still too much. And tanks were like, kill me. Kill me. I want to press my buttons. So health is up to 400. The cost is up by 300. Did I say 400? Okay. Armor down by 30. Health up by 150. Cost up by 300. So the cost far exceeds how much they're removing. They're removing a lot. The ability haste gone. The armor gone. The health decent. The gold cost gone. Up. So the active now slows by 55% for 2 seconds, and you get a permanent critical strike 20% damage reduction. So that's probably good. There's now once again an actual answer to 80 carries. The problem, this is a lot of gold for not a lot of stats here. So it remains to be seen if it will be any useful, but at the very least, hopefully, this gives a real answer to like Yone and Yasuo, so that when you play a tank in the late game, you don't just like Hasaki to death. Sunfire Aegis is getting killed. Sunfire Aegis is basically getting murdered by Riot. They took this item out back and they said, Sunfire, think of the bunnies, Sunfire. Think of the bunnies. Okay, so does anyone miss old Sunfire? No? Well, let me tell you something. You probably shouldn't miss it because it's really bad. It's like really bad. It is extremely outdated, and it, like, before they even removed it, they already had to buff it because it was so weak. So they're not even restoring the buff they did to it. It doesn't even have the buff they did to make it a relevant item, and they're bringing it back, even though the game is power creeped. So let me put it this way. Okay, I need to write this down so you guys understand just how stupid this is. Okay, now I'll use Notepad. Notepad will actually be easier. Okay, so this is what they're doing. Sunfire is too weak. Buff Sunfire. rework Sunfire, revert old Sunfire. Okay, well, this is too long. Okay, so basically, the Sunfire that was too weak, that needed to be buffed because it wasn't being viable, this is the one we're returning to. Not the one where they gave it the burst damage. Not the reworked Sunfire. No. We are going all the way back to the one that was too weak. Okay. So the gold cost is down 400. The health is down 50. The armor goes up 15. The magic resist goes down 35. The ability haste goes down 20. The flame tongue passive has been removed, so you can no longer stack it up and then do the double damage. And it no longer does the bonus damage to monsters. Your objective control is gone. You can no longer kill dragon. You can no longer be relevant. Champions like Kusante will literally be unable to kill dragon. Maokai will literally be unable to kill dragon. Jungle Maokai literally cannot kill dragon anymore. Your double damage is gone. This item is no longer relevant. Period. It will not do nearly enough damage to be relevant in modern League of Legends. Modern League, even if the durability update is too fast-paced. Its survivability is gone. 50 armor, 400 HP for 2,800 gold. Riot, why would I go Sunfire instead of Omen? Even Omen has 60 armor and the crit damage reduction. Oh, but guys, Sunfire will do like 30 magic damage a second. Yay! You say, standing next to people and doing small, insignificant damage. Magic resist, gone. Ability haste, gone. So now, what does Riot expect? Does Riot think tanks are gonna go back to the old ways where they do like one item with ability haste and then like Omen, Sunfire, and they just end the game at 20 ability haste? Because that sucked, Riot. That was really unfun. When every other class is like, yay, time to spam all my buttons, and they're like, beep, 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 and you're a tank, you're like, I'll press my one button. Tank, are you gonna do another button press? Nope, no ability haste. I'll just wait. Right, sure. Turbo Chemtank is back to its old ways. A lot of this shit is literally just reverting old shit. So this item is losing its armor and gaining magic resist. So it's going down. By the way, this one is really weird. It's going down in gold cost, going up in health, and going up in magic resist. It's losing some ability haste. Overall though, Turbo Chemtank is going to be much tankier. So like, whereas every other tank item is getting squishier, Turbo Chemtank is the only one getting much tankier, especially for its cost, which is kind of weird. It no longer does the damage on hit, but let's be fair, the damage on hit was pretty goddamn small. I mean, it was like 100 magic damage on hit. Like, it kind of mattered, but, you know. So, yeah. This is like the one tank item where it's actually going to be better. But my only issue is we're once again going to go back to seeing tanks that do like... You're going to see shit like Turbo Chemtank rush into Jak'Sho, rush into Omen, that end the game with 30 ability haste, that do 0 damage, that are literally just tanks. Now I know what you're saying, but tanks are meant to be tanks. They're meant to be tanks. No, because what we're going to do is we're going to have to start chain buffing tank base damage again. Because if you get no damage from items, then your base damage needs to be buffed. Rather than buffing tank damage over the last like 5 years, Riot has actually been slowly reducing it. tanks have done less damage over time. When's the last time you've actually heard of a tank having their damage increased? Maokai had his nerfed. Nautilus had his nerfed. I guess Malphite got his damage restored after they nerfed it. That's about it, right? And so I think the problem is gonna be we're gonna see Malphite and champions like that ult into you, combo. You're gonna sit there at like you'll lose like a third of your health, and you'll be like ah, and then Malphite's gonna keep hitting you, and you're gonna be like ah, and then he's gonna keep hitting you, and you're gonna be like, wait, actually Malphite doesn't do any damage anymore. So, okay. Aegis of the Legion. Okay, Aegis is going down by 200 gold. I mathed this out in my head because I thought this was a bit excessive, but I actually mathed it out in my head. Aegis of the Legion is 30 armor, 30 magic resist. Now, if you're not playing into a champion that does armor and magic damage, then it's effectively 600 gold in armor, 200 gold in ability haste for 1400 gold. Which isn't good. So, lowering it by 200 gold actually does seem a bit more fair. So, effectively, you're getting 1200 gold in stats, and then the ability haste is like a bonus buck, right? Which is good. Dude, this item used to be... Holy shit. Does anyone remember old Aegis of Legion before they double buffed it? I think this item was actually a downgrade from actually just building the stats. Huh. So now it might actually be an item that you want to build. Ravenous Hydra is getting a rework. It's old Bloodthirster now, kind of, in a weird way. Bloodthirster is still Bloodthirster, but now there's old, new Bloodthirster. Attack damage is down, but you'll see. The cleave, instead of being 60 to 12% damage, it's now just 60% flat. Just 60% flat. You just cleave and you deal 60% AoE. Yeah, that's a pretty significant buff into team fighting. Now, here's the new thing. This is why it's actually... I'll be honest, this is probably going to get it nerfed. In fact, it's definitely going to get it nerfed. I think in 100% of situations, I think Ravenous Hydra will probably be nerfed down to like 55 damage. I'm not going to say anything, but I think it will definitely be nerfed down to like 55. Because it's not like a top tier item, but it's still built. And holy shit, it's going to be really OP. So now you gain 0.6 AD and 0.1% Omnivamp on minion kills, and twice of that on champions, large monsters, siege minions, etc., etc. It stacks up to 24%, or say 24 AD and 4% Omnivamp. So it stacks up to 40 stacks, right? You lose half the stacks on death. So assuming you even have half the stacks, even with a mere half stacks, you've traded 5 damage to get a much better AoE for clearing minions, for team fighting, for stuff like that. Even with half stacks, you are still going up 7 damage and 2% Omnivamp with a better AoE. That's it, half stacks. If it goes to full stacks, you're going up 19 damage and 4% Omnivamp and the AoE for free. Hence, I think it'll probably be nerfed to 60 on like the first patch, then probably nerfed down to 55. I think this item is going to start being built on like every champion. Not every champion. Basically any champion that can build it is going to start building it. Hopefully this actually gets Camille nerfed. Hopefully. And then Tiamat is getting buffed. Instead of 60 to 12% damage, it's 50% flat and then 25% flat on ranged champions. So this is a very significant buff to Tiamat. Don't think this is a nerf. No champion ever took 60% damage unless you hit 2 champions that were literally having sex with each other. Because there was basically no way that anyone would ever take the full AoE. Like, again, you would literally be having to have, like, really close gay sex to actually deal the full damage. Okay. Spear of Shojin is being re-added. Before you're like, oh no, not Spear of Shojin. It's not the same item at all. It's a similar item, similar enough to where they're calling it Spear of Shojin, but it is not, in fact, Spear of Shojin. Okay. 3,400 gold, so really expensive. 65 damage, 300 health, 20 ability haste. So ignoring the gold cost, a decent setup for stats. The health is a little low at 300. Maybe like 400 would be better. Maybe like, 55 damage, 400 HP, maybe something like that. I don't know, but we'll see. So what it now does is you get 8 plus 8% base AD ability haste. Okay, hold on. Let me. Sorry, my brain literally broke. I'm sorry. Non-ultimate spells gain an extra 8 plus 8% base AD ability haste, reduced from ranged champions. Then the amount of ability haste, it's not base AD, then why would they say base AD, then base AD, then base AD, then base AD? Unless someone typoed 4 times in a row? I think it's base AD. Okay, so you get 8 plus 8% base AD, ability haste for melee champions, 6 plus 6% base AD, ability haste for ranged champions. Okay, it's like, okay, this is a lot of letters here, so I'm gonna just typo, I'm gonna just type it rather than work on this. So, melee. 8% plus, I say 8 plus 8% base AD ability haste on non-ultimate. If your ability has CC, reduced to 4 plus 4% base AD ability haste. So, guys, I don't give a single fuck what Surrender at 20 says about the item. I care what Riot says. If they typoed this 4 times in a row, that would be the dumbest shit I've seen. Maybe they did, but I'm not going to operate on the idea that they typoed 4 times in a row. So if your ability has a stun, so Renekton W, Riven's Q, Riven's W, Counter Strike, any of those, you literally get half. So at present, so let's say you have 140 base AD, times up by 0.08, add the 8, so you get 20 ability haste plus 19 at max level, so you would get 39 ability haste. That's, to be honest, kind of shitty. Huh. That's kind of shitty. Not gonna lie. It was really OP at first on the PBE. Guys, I literally don't give 10 shits what the PBE says. Please stop. Please shut the fuck up. You guys annoy me so much. Okay. Holy shit. See, the thing is, it's really about the movement speed, and let me go through and explain the movement speed here. You get up to 15% movement speed. So I'm not talking about the range, because every ranged champion gets a debuff. They get a debuff on the ability haste, and they get a debuff on the movement speed. So I'm not talking about ranged champions. I'm just going to talk primarily and fully about melee. Okay, so whenever I say a number, it's for melee. That number is nerfed for ranged. So don't think range gets the numbers I'm talking about. Let me just see. Kitty, what are you doing? Oh my god. So you get up to 15% movement speed at low HP. Now this is, in my opinion, the main goodness of the item. It looks like they giga nerfed the ability haste right before launch. So at this gold cost, it might be a bit underpowered. I'm not sure. Like, I'm trying to think in my head. It looked pretty OP at the first reveal, but this one doesn't really look OP or really even that good. But the movement speed is really good. Like, if I'm playing Darius, instead of going shitty ass, what is that piece of shit? Deadman's, I can go with Spear of Shojin. But Spear of Shojin is squishy and really expensive is the issue. So I get what they're going for, but I feel like this is potentially a bit understat. Now the issue is Olaf, and that's probably going to be the issue with Spear of Shojin, and that's probably why they nerfed it so hard before launching. Olaf with this item looks way too good, and that's kind of why I suspected it was going to be nerfed into the ground. Olaf with this item, and I was looking forward to it, and now I'm kind of disappointed they nerfed it so hard before I even got to try it. Olaf with this item literally looks game-breaking, like actually game-breaking, because the ability to have permanent 15% movement speed because he's at low HP, and the ability to get a lot of ability haste because even with this base AD nerf, he still has a lot of base AD for a champion. So that's still nearly 40 ability haste, 300 health, 65 damage, and then a lot of movement speed for Olaf. I don't know if it would be buildable anymore after that nerf. But the thing is, on Olaf, this still looks almost buildable, and that's a scary thing. This is still probably buildable on Olaf, even after they nerfed it so badly. I don't think it's going to be buildable on like anyone else, though. I think what they would need to do is push the health up to like 450, reduce the damage a little bit. Like push it to 55 damage, 450 HP. I don't think many, like I think a lot of people are going to build this item because it's new and interesting and cool. And it will probably do good a couple games, but I don't think it's going to do good overall. And I think most champions will drop it. The massive gold cost in combination with its overall lackluster base stats, because at the end of the day, it is a less damaging Black Cleaver. I think we can all agree on that. It's trading attack damage. It has 25 more attack damage, which is good, right? We can all agree on that, but it has no armor shred. So it's basically trading some damage for more upfront damage, for more ability haste and the movement speed. But it also costs 300 more gold. So I think they gave it 300 HP though because Black Cleaver had 300 HP. But the issue is, at least for me, the issue is I've never thought of Black Cleaver as a health item. I've always thought it as like an accent item. Like an item like you throw on a build. Whereas this looks like an extremely core item, especially with the 3,400 gold tag. That is a very core item. So like you can get Black Cleaver and a cloth armor for Spear of Shojin. So like no matter how you cut it, Black Cleaver is going to be tankier or more damaging simply because you can get other items with it, right? And you can build it earlier. So I think the nerf is warranted. If this is still total AD instead of base AD, but why would they typo it here and here and here and here? And the thing is, it still looks reasonable, in my opinion. It still looks reasonable even with that nerf. Even with that nerf, it still looks reasonable. Because if it was total AD, that would be absurd. Imagine you had 300 or even 400 AD. Imagine you were Aatrox. Do you know what 8% of 400 is? 32. 32 plus 20? You're telling me they would give Aatrox an item with 52 ability haste? That wouldn't make any sense no matter how you tried to argue it. Riven with a 52 ability haste item? No, they would not add that into the game. So the base AD nerf seems to try to nerf it on Olaf, Riven, and Aatrox, who can boost their base AD, who can boost their AD really high because they all have ultimates that increase their AD, right? So it seems like they tried to nerf it on those 3 champions. It's still an overall decent item. Now, the other thing you need to remember is people were really afraid this would be good on Riven, but here's the issue. That's the wrong page. Here's the issue. That's still the wrong page. That's the wrong page. Here's the issue. Riven has, I don't know why I did that. Riven has really not great base damage with 115. So Riven is not gonna, she's gonna get like 35 ability haste on this item. I guess actually be like 38. She'll get like 38 ability haste on this item. It's not great. It's not great. Especially when you have Black Cleaver with 30 ability haste. So she would get 25 damage and 8 ability haste. And then maybe some movement speed. I mean, and that's the thing. If your champion doesn't care about movement speed. Because even if you're at 2/3 HP, even if you're at 66% health, you're still getting 7% movement speed on this item. Which is not like, oh my god, amazing. But on champions that need to melee, 7% movement speed can be massive. Like, imagine you're playing against Darius and you whack him with some abilities and back off, and now imagine Darius is staring you down running at 7% more movement speed, right? Like, that can be make or break. Olaf, same thing, right? So I'm spending a lot of time on this item because this is probably overall the most likely item to change the game. All the tank mythics look kind of, the only one is the one that allows you to stack permanent HP. That one's like the only one that like fundamentally could change the game. But Spirit of Shojin 100% could change the game if it's too good or too bad. Well, I mean, if it's too bad, no one gives a shit. If it's too good, it could change the game. Let's put it that way. But I think what they're going for is it's Black Cleaver, but no armor shred. So better on champions like Darius, better on champions like Olaf. And movement speed. Now, the thing you have to remember is the ability haste is nerfed on immobilizing effects. So if you're a champion like Jax, you're not even getting 30 ability haste in Counter-Strike. You're getting like 28. If you're playing Riven, you're only getting 28 ability haste on her Q and her W. You would just get Giga movement or Giga ability haste on your E. But then even then, not that much. Only 38. It's only 8 more than Black Cleaver. So this item is not a Riven item. That's my opinion. This item doesn't get built on Riven. Especially because... Oh, no, it does give it to your ultimate. Now, oh right, it says here non-ultimate. Okay, so it is non-ultimate. So it doesn't give it to your ultimate. Half on your CC. So no, there's no way Riven goes this item. This item's not going to go on Riven. Olaf? Maybe. He has enough ability haste to chain his ultimate. He does, let's be honest here, he does have a decently low cooldown on his ultimate. Aatrox 2, would Aatrox build this item? Would Aatrox care? I think Aatrox still goes Black Cleaver 10 out of 10 times. The armor shred is too useful. So, Darius, maybe. If you're way far ahead, maybe. But Darius doesn't want damage, and that's why I keep coming back to Olaf. This just seems like the Olaf item, to be blunt. This item seems like it was designed almost entirely for Olaf. I don't really... Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Deadman's is competing with it, but this is a lot of damage. 65 damage is a lot of damage. What you could maybe do, now that I'm thinking about it, what you could maybe do on Darius, I'm not saying you would. I'm saying hypothetically. I'm literally spitballing here, okay? So don't take my word on this. What you could hypothetically do is try to first item Spirit Shojin on Darius or Olaf, and then flip up here to like Iceborn Gauntlet or Jak'Sho or something like that. And then use your Spirit Shojin with its 65 damage, with its movement speed, with its ability haste, especially because it doesn't scale on total AD now. So maybe you first item it into like a Jak'Sho, or you first item it into an Iceborn Gauntlet, And then because Iceborn Gauntlet gives you the damage reduction and the single target slow, and the single target slow is still, you know, it's decent. It's just your AoE slow has been nerfed into the ground, right? So, but that's just me spitballing. I can't say for sure. It doesn't look that great for a first item. Like 3,400 gold is a lot, and these stats, I mean, the stats are decent though. 65 damage is a lot of damage. But the earlier you build it, the less base AD you have. That is true. I don't know. It's really difficult to say. It's really difficult to say. Cho'Gath is getting his damage to monsters increased. With the increased damage coming to Smite this patch, we're buffing up Cho'Gath's Feast to execute to keep it in line with Smite. So basically, Smite's damage got buffed in the late game. So now they're buffing Feast's damage in the late game, which actually didn't need to happen because you can literally see here on the patch notes that Cho'Gath's Feast outdamaged Smite. So it would still outdamage Smite because it's really easy for Cho'Gath to get 200 bonus, or sorry, 2,000 bonus HP. So not sure. Lilaya changed from range to melee. Attack range to attack melee. 20 less base HP. Less base HP, 1 more health per level. So they're making her a little bit squishier in the early game, but in the late game it basically equals out. Healing versus champions. Huh? Healing versus champions reduced early game and late game. Am I crazy? So this is just actually a nerf to Lilaya. We're preemptively buffing her passive. Is it? That doesn't seem like a buff to me. So we're preemptively buffing her passive. I'm not reading this wrong, am I? Okay. Change from range to melee. Base health decreased. Health growth increased. Passive healing versus champions increased. Healing versus champions. Based on level, now uses stat growth multiplier. What does that mean? %, 18% AP. What does this mean? Stat growth multiplier. I'm reading everything. I have read everything here, guys. I've read everything. I've read every single word they have, and I'm sitting here. This doesn't make sense. What they're saying is wrong. I'm gonna look this up because they might have the numbers backwards. That's all I can think of. They might have the numbers backwards. Nope, on live it's 10.5. So they haven't swapped these numbers. It's not 6 now. No, it's so they are doing this right. But I'm okay with the Lilaya nerf. I hate this champion. But did she need to be nerfed? Did she? I don't get it. Okay. I'm gonna look past it I don't think this is a buff at all. I can't read this as a buff. So attacks range to attack melee. So she counts as a melee champion, but what possibly gets affected from her being melee? What possibly affected her to make this a buff? There's literally nothing I can think of that at all makes this a buff. There's Grasp of the Undying. There's Conqueror. There's Demonic Embrace. I guess that's it. I guess it's just they think that being able to stack Conqueror better and having a slight damage increase on Demonic. That's literally all I can think of. I know, kitty. So, I guess it's just slightly better Demonic and slightly better Conqueror. I know, kitty. I know. Okay, I'm not gonna think about it anymore. It's one of these changes that likely will come out eventually as being a big change, but for now, I don't know, like whenever you nerf a champion in the early game by 20 HP and 4 health healing, that's the thing. If you nerf a champion really badly in the early game, it tends to affect them really badly because the early game is really, really important. Kitty, you're a big baby. You're a huge baby who wants to be held. You're a baby kitty. You're a baby. You are a baby. Kitty, I can't even move my mouse now. Oh my god. Kitty, you're falling. Why do you let yourself fall just so I have to hold you? Kitty. She's like, oh no, I'm slipping. You better hold me with both arms to stop me. She's literally just looking at herself falling, like, oh no. Kitty, I can't, I need to move the mouse. Rakan is now melee. This one's actually a buff because the support item gets affected by that. A lot of things get affected by this one. Nunu, well wait, this one's actually significant because this buffs his jungle really hard. Because now he clears faster. Although, they did say that you deal 20% more damage to your jungle. So, actually, they're kind of just keeping this competitive with the amount of damage. Because I remember, way back up, they said the amount of damage you do to the jungle with true damage isn't increased. So, they are saying, yeah, okay, this basically just keeps pace with a 20%. But this means he's still good at counter jungling. So Nunu's like the only champion who can still counter jungle really good. Okay, smite damage. We already went through that above. Okay, turret plates give more gold and also have more armor and MR per plate. What? So I guess this is why they nerfed Rift Herald earlier. Huh. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know, kitty. Okay. ARAM balance adjustments. There's people who's already talked about the ARAM stuff. Like, a lot of people have talked about the ARAM stuff before. I'm not gonna spend time on it. Like, you can go find a video from people who actually play ARAM. I, unfortunately, do not. And so I don't really know all about the ARAM stuff. Okay, they rounded all the stats on champions to the nearest one. There were a lot of champions who had, like, 0.622222273% attack speed. And so they just round that to 0.62 now. Yeah, so everything got rounded. Everything got rounded. Behavioral systems got updated. Penalty ladders will be upgraded, blah, 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 blah. Basically, okay. People at the higher ranks are going to be watched more closely than people at the lower ranks. Does everybody get that? Okay. Competitive. AFK surrender times. The amount of times you have to call a surrender. I don't really know. I'm not going to do all that. Okay, mythic content, blah, 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 blah. Nothing really here. Bunch of bug fixes. I don't remember any of these being substantial. I typically try to, like, eyeball it beforehand. Like, before I do a video, I tend to try to, like, eyeball it. And, you know, kind of see if anything's really going to pop out to me. But, yeah, like, the only big one is fixed a bug where K'Sante's E would not cancel his recall if he was currently channeling his back. That's the only one that's really significant. It's like, but again, it's like no one, yeah. Fixed a bug where K'Sante could redirect, extend his W knockback distance direction with flash. That one was annoying. I do like that they nerfed that. K'Sante could W, then flash, and then continue to W. So like if you're playing Gragas and you flash after using E, then it ends your body slam, right? So like you can't body slam forward with Gragas, then flash, then just continue your body slam, right? But K'Sante, he could do that with his W, which allowed him to get like weirdly long range Ws. I never personally used it, but yeah. I don't think it was actually the best use of his flash. I think the best use of his flash was still just Q flash. But yeah. Fixed a bug where K'Sante's R bonus AD would not account for temporary armor and magic resist bonuses from items and runes. Okay, this one's actually substantial though, but not really. It means Gargoyle's Stone Plate affects him now. Actually, it's not like a big deal though. We're talking about the difference in, even into the late game, the difference of like 20 damage. And on a champion who has no magic resist, or sorry, no armor shred, we're talking about, you know, I mean, it could matter actually. In the late game, if you like we're hit by like 5 people and you got like 100 bonus armor and ulted, I guess in that situation, we're talking about the difference of like 40 to 50 damage actually. But that's pretty niche. Like late game K'Sante with Gargoyle, who's got like 5 stacks and then he ults. Yes, I guess in that very specific situation, yes, that would be potentially upwards of like 50 damage. Potentially. But in a realistic situation, we're talking about the difference of like 10 to 20 damage on a champion with no armor shred. So even throughout his entire combo, we're talking about the difference of maybe like 50 damage dealt. Yeah. Fixed a bug that caused K'Sante's E to not proc Spellblade. I mean, it's good they're adding that. It didn't really affect the game until now. So now, he can use the new Iceborn Gauntlet better, which is good because they're obviously pushing it on him really hard. I think that's about it. There's a lot of K'Sante bug fixes. Hey, they fixed the world's bug. Yeah, okay. As for skins, okay. Dude, someone said my skin review was cringy. Sorry for taking my job seriously, assholes. My bad. Right, Kitty? You guys want an expert skin review, don't you? Yeah, you do, Kitty. Space Groove Gragas. Okay, I mean, there's not much I can do with Gragas, right? Like, that's like it, right? Like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, that's it. Yeah, okay. I mean, fair enough, right? Like, that's Gragas. What are you gonna do? He's a fat dude. His entire characteristic trait seems to be fat man. So every skin is just fat. I don't know. Space Groove Lysandra. I know what they're going for, I guess. I don't know. I feel like the Gragas one is at least kind of comical and funny. It's not exactly unique, but it's kind of comical and funny. The Lissandra one feels like... I don't know. I guess what they did with her face, where they kind of gave her that like 70s sort of like look to kind of simulate her having the helmet, because like you never see Lissandra's face, because then you would know that her helmet is actually covering that she's a cat girl with cat ears. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it, you know. Space Groove Nami, it's... well, it's Nami. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Space Groove Ornn. Every Ornn player being like, thanks for the skin, Riot. I'm so glad this is the skin we got after 5 years. Yay! Space Groove Tarek. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Tarek would dye his hair. I feel like he'd consider that damaging to his hair, no? Tarek just doesn't strike me as a guy who would dye his hair. I don't think he'd cut it either. He would definitely not cut his hair. He would not cut it and he would not dye it. This is extremely out of character. That's just my opinion. I feel like Tarek's hair is like... making Tarek with short hair is like making Aatrox without a sword. So I consider this skin to be non-canon. Space Groove Teemo doesn't even look anything at all, even slightly like Teemo anymore. They just... yeah. Space Groove Twisted Fate. Why are they trying to make him look like Skinny Graves? Just me? Just me? Okay. Prestige Space Groove Nami. Okay, was someone... I don't want to be that guy. But did someone find Poppy really attractive? And was like, what if we make like a sexy Poppy skin? And every rider was like, what? And he was like a sexy Poppy skin. And everyone was like, dude. And he was like, I meant Nami. I meant Nami skin. I meant Nami. I meant Nami, everyone. Like sexy Nami, not Poppy. But she's blue. Okay. Victoria Sejuani. I have no complaints, to be honest. Galaxy Slayer Zed. Are they going back and giving chromas to Zed's skin? Because it's like his most popular skin and they couldn't think of a way. They're like, fuck guys, no one buys our new Zed skins because they all use this one. What should we do? Give it chromas? Oh boy. That looks awful. Oh no. It's terrible. Zero for 2. 0.5 for 3. 0.5. I give this one 0.5. This gets half a point. We're back to 0 points. 0 for 4. You have to be kidding me. There's no way this was approved. -1 for 5. This is not even funny. It's just bad. It doesn't even look like Tarek. One of Tarek's walking animations is literally his long-ass hair flowing majestically, floating behind him. How the hell are you gonna have that with the short hair? The hair was actually one of his characteristics, man. I don't get it. It's literally, what if they made an Aatrox skin with no sword? It's stupid. I hate it. No, I hate it. Fuck you. You're cool. Yeah, you're cool. You can stay. Okay, well... Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Okay, yeah, okay, right at the end of this video, I want to give one update on the Jax video. I know some of you subscribed to my Patreon for the Jax video. I am trying. I just don't feel, I keep almost getting to it, and then I don't quite get to it, okay? I'm trying, okay? If you guys want me to do long videos and more edited videos, subscribe to my Patreon. It helps me a lot. Subscribing to my Patreon supports me and helps me out a lot. So thank you if you do that. That's always great. Thank you everybody who does that. Thank you everybody who subscribes to me on just subscribes to my channel. Thank you guys for joining as a membership. Thank you everybody for just watching. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm gonna read all the Patreon subscribers because you guys do seem to like it when I acknowledge your existence because you do give me money. Okay, so starting from the top to the bottom, highest tier to lowest tier. Let's see. Thank you, Ezekiel Juarez, Lord of Pudding, Monica, Stefan Ortman, Deep the Heretic, Nicholas Hinderer, T the Fish, Alex Tennant, Emiru, Entai, Blazenrock, Christoph Marks, Crash Pinho, Guinea Shelbert, Horace the Burb God, Kokurli, Malice, Philemon Landry, Quill of Anguish, Sophie, Tenshi Kanashiza, Destroy, Amzarine, Ben G, British Mapper, Creador, Dengda, Daniel Fiala, Daniel Juarez, Daniel Huartez, Devin Gill, Yadgad, Eric Petinelli, Esteban Arias, Fell, Fanaku, Fulyuki, Hyun Arthur, J. Paul, Johnny Boy, Justicier, Kalphos Zeromar, Kijubi, Ludwig III, Manuel, Metal M. Morgan, Negative KDA, OMG Clover, Orahol Conant, Oz, PKZ, RH, Red Daddy, Scorpion, Stickbird 34, Suki02, Terra, Tomato, Under, Uvo Plaja, Villain, Vivian, Wilm Ember S, WLC, League of Legend, Wolfman, Jan, Adam Golding, and Qingming Bang. Thank you all of you for subscribing and supporting me immensely. Thank you all of you for just getting today in this video. Thank you all, and I hope all of you have a great rest of your day.